May 2nd, 2024, 7:30 p.m. Couple items, couple administrative items on the agenda. We've had a little bit of an adjustment. Item number 6 has been withdrawn, which is 420 Nanahagan Road. And under the new public hearings, we're going to swap a little bit. Number 2, which is 9 Skyline Drive, we're going to put that as number 1. And number 1, 200 Lake Road, will be number 2. There are 2 items up tonight that are a public hearing, which is where we take input from the public. The rest of the applications are not ready for public input. We have a ways to go on all of those. So with that being said, first up is a business item. Resolution of approval. Review of specifics of conditions and consideration of adoption. DEP Kensico Eastview Connection KEC. Contract number 1. KENS East number 2. -2, Kensico Campus Site Preparations Department of Conservation, Water Supply Use, Construction of New Water Conveyance and Supporting Facilities. That's contract number 1. And as we've talked about, there's multiple contracts. This is contract number 1. Any comments, questions, concerns, thoughts from board members? Okay, I take silence as a no. Let the minutes reflect no comments from board members. So we have this resolution that has been updated several times over the last week. The board has read it. We need to make a determination on what the consultant has done and what he has drafted.
And Mr. Chairman, you have 2 resolutions, the site plan and a steep slope permit.
The site plan and steep slope. Okay. So those will need to be two separate resolutions.
I'll make a motion, we approve the site plan as drafted by the consultant.
Motion from Joan.
Second.
Second from Walter. Walter.
Aye.
Jane.
Aye.
Joan. Eileen. JD. Okay, an aye for me. Second up. Steep slope.
I'll make a motion, we adopt the resolution as drafted, the steep slopes by the consultant.
Motion from Joan. Second from Eileen. Walter.
Aye.
Jane.
Aye.
Joan.
Aye.
Eileen. JD. And an aye for me. Okay, next up, we have new public hearings. So what does that mean? That means we're here for the board. The direction of the conversation is really more for the public than for the board because we've heard this before. So when the applicant comes up, make sure that we're addressing the public as well as the board. First up is, again, I swapped number 1 for number 2, is 9 Skyline Drive, installation of 2 standalone commercial generators, 150 kilowatt and 200 kilowatt to be run by sub-base diesel fuel tank. Application site plan SP24, location 9 Skyline Drive, Hawthorne, New York. Section block number is 116.8-1-12.3, zone OB6. Owner MWEP, Building 9 Condo Association. Applicant is Timothy Donovan.
I'll make a motion that we waive the reading of the public notice.
Motion from Jane.
Second.
Second from Joan. Walter.
Aye.
Jane.
Aye.
Joan. Eileen. JD. And aye from me. Welcome. Just your name and who you are for the record, for Carolyn.
My name is Timothy Donovan, and I'm representing Crown Awards.
Yes, I just want to make sure the public knows because we're speaking to the public. Do me a quick favor. Can you just grab that mic and speak right into the mic so people can hear you in the back of the room and they can hear you in TV land? Can you just unclip that? You just slide it out?
They changed it.
Hello?
It's new.
Hello?
New.
Check 1, 2. 1, 2.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Lenny.
Magic touch.
Thank you.
Yes, my name is Timothy Donovan. I'm representing Crown Awards at 9 Skyline Drive.
Okay. You want to kind of just detail, we're here for the public, so you want to detail what we're doing tonight?
Yes, we have a plan to install 2 industrial generators. The site has a good deal, actually, it might be the largest site for digital engraving equipment, so it needs clean power. And they are mid-range size generators. They're actually nothing oversized at all. And so we plan to install 2. They're diesel. And we had an emergency, and that's one of the reasons why we actually had to make this move at that time. We had a Con Ed and building emergency that really impacted our ability to do work over there.
Okay. All right, anything else?
No, thank you.
Okay. So with that being said, any questions or comments from board members?
There was a letter from a member
Correct.
of the public.
I have it
who,
here.
Had asked about vibrations from the generators and whether that would impact their adjacent business.
It's a long way from their building. It's well over 150 to 2 feet from their building, from what I can understand. They're outside, and I can understand a question that, let's say, if they were to exercise at the same time, maybe that might make them feel a little more comfortable. But I don't think it's going to be significant vibration anyway. Pads have been put in that actually really mitigate a lot. They're on stone. It's on crushed stone on top. It's concrete on top of crushed stone. But it's not actually done for vibration. It's basically done, that's the engineering approach. I've never heard that an outdoor generator would cause vibration at that distance. There have frequently been questions about sound, and they're completely understandable. There is a generator adjacent to their rear wall of their building, and I'd be wondering what their experience is with that, because it's actually their generator. It's I believe it's an 80 kW generator, and the pad is adjacent to their building.
And do you test it on a regular schedule it's not only during emergencies, obviously the work then, but do you have to have like a testing on a regular basis?
They exercise on a regular basis for about 15 minutes with no load. And that's actually just to make sure that they're working, and
That occurs how often?
weekly.
Okay.
We could probably extend it bi-weekly, but they are diesel generators, and you don't really want to build up carbon inside a diesel generator just for management. But it's we would exercise them at different times. We wouldn't have them at the same time. And of course, whatever the planning board time you decide that they should be exercised. Typically, it's daylight hours. That's in residential areas. I don't know what it is going to be over in that area. I mean, there are very substantial truck movements through that area. Tractor trailers. It's a industrial area. So.
And why the need for 2?
Pardon?
Why the need for 2?
Good question. The building has at least four independent electrical services. And if you were to put one in, you would have to combine all of the electrical services into one service. Right now, there are 4, but the critical loads are the engraving and life safety. So the engraving units, so that they can actually maintain their business, and life safety are on 2 services. The other 2 services are, let's say, lights, fans, and other other loads that are not critical.
So does each generator have a separate transfer switch?
Yes. The 200 has a 400 amp transfer switch, and they both have different ones. One is, the 200 kW has an 800 amp transfer switch, and the 150 has a 400.
So depending on what fails, that kicks on that generator that's tied to that load?
Yes. Now, if the building goes, typically the way power runs, the grid runs, typically they would lose typically all of their loads unless there was something unique about one particular service coming into the building. So you would typically lose all of your loads. That's just the way the grid works.
Thank you.
How many gallons is in the diesel?
Pardon me?
How many gallons in the diesel fuel tank?
How many?
Gallons of diesel?
Diesel fuel,
How big?
they don't run at 100%. The 250 is a 500-gallon tank, and the 200 is a 691-gallon tank. They'll be filled at the most to 80% of that. You can't really fill them more than 80%, or the alarm would go off for expansion inside the tank. What we've taken is we actually were asked if we have a plan for fuel if it were to spill. There's a difference between a spill and a leak. A spill is typically would be made during the transfer of fuel into the unit, and that would come from the bulk fuel carrier. And so we have a curb around the outside of it to contain it, a containment curb. And we also have a plan for any kind of spill. But if there is a leak, that would mean that a double hull tank has been ruptured. That's very hard to do. Can it be done? Sure. But those are tanks that are regulated as well in New York City, up on top of the buildings and things like that.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else from board members? And I do want to, there's a couple questions, and I don't know if the person who wrote this email is here, but I'm going to try to go through some of the questions that they had, just so we address them. Any other comments or questions from board members? One of the other comments that came through, and Pat, I may need to help me if you can. It says, I quote, on page 5, it says, once an emergency electrical generator site master plan is approved by the planning board, the installation of an additional generator is in accordance with the master plan shall not require site plan approval from the planning board, and one may directly file for building permit, electrical permit, or other required permit. No other discretionary approval is required. So I guess it was saying it was once we approve this, they can put.
The opposite, so they have not shown any, if this were to be, so they're approving this as their master plan.
Yeah.
That means there's nothing else permitted on the site. If they wanted additional units, they'd have to show it on the plan. They've indicated that this is all the building would ever need, so this is their master plan, so that they would not ever be coming back to you for additional facilities. If they did, they'd have to start all over again from scratch.
Okay, thank you. And we can have the minutes reflect that in case.
And it'll be in the resolution.
Yeah. And one other thing is just, I have a question about the chain link fence that is being installed around the generators. Are these considered permanent extensions of the building? I guess that's, Pat, you may need to lean into that too.
No, so fencing is typically, it's a separate permit for a fence. It's not part of the principal structure.
Okay, so we've gone through those questions. And I don't know if that individual is here tonight. We'll have an opportunity for the public to speak, but we try to enumerate some of the questions that were in that well thought out email. Okay, one last time. Any other thoughts or comments from board members? Then we'll go to the public. Okay, with that being said, this is a public hearing. We're here to hear the public. And this is an application that is under the public hearing umbrella, if you will, on 9 Skyline Drive. If there's anybody here tonight who is here for 9 Skyline Drive for the generator, please raise your hand. We'll give you a number. If you have a number, you can speak. If you don't have a number, you can't speak. So is anybody here for 9 Skyline Drive? Going once, going twice, going 3 times. Let the minutes reflect that there is nobody in attendance for 9 Skyline Drive.
I'll make a motion, we close the public hearing.
So we have a motion from Joan,
Second?
second from Eileen. Walter,
Aye.
Jane,
Aye.
Joan,
Aye.
Eileen,
Aye.
JD.
Aye.
Okay, so we have a closed public hearing. So now we need to take action on the resolution.
Make a motion to draft the resolution.
We have a motion from JD, second from Joan. Walter,
Aye.
Jane,
Aye.
Joan, Eileen,
Aye.
and JD.
Aye.
And I for me. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up on the agenda is formerly number 1, now is number 2, 200 Lake Road Creative Arts Center, relocation of an existing maintenance yard and relocation of an existing maintenance yard and upgrading the Stafford lot to provide visitor park and installation of a connection path to the Brewer House, a sculpture park, and pedestrian walkway for interconnection. Application, site plan application PSP 23-2. Locations 200 Lake Road, Mechanical Hills, New York. Section block lot number 116.5-2-2, 3, 4, 5, and 7. Zone R40. Owner and applicant National Trust Historic Preservation Green Rock Corporation. Engineer Architect FX Collaborative Architects LLP. Attorney Cutter and Feder LLP. I feel like I need a drink of water after that. Thank you very much and welcome. And just state who you are and your name for the record, please.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. For the record, my name is Tony Joffrey. I'm a member of the law firm Cuddy and Fader, and I'm here this evening on behalf of the David Rockefeller Creative Arts Center located at 200 Lake Road. This is an application that most of you are familiar with. We originally obtained site plan approval in 2019 for the adaptive reuse of the Orangery building and associated improvements at the 200 Lake Road premises. Since that time, and I'd like to go through a little bit of the procedural history because it's been some time, we appeared before you 363 days ago in connection with the amended site plan approval to introduce the proposal to you at that time. Went through the board comments and questions and did a presentation, which we'll go through a slide deck this evening as well. At that time, the board moved to schedule or have a public hearing, but the board wanted us to address all of the consultant comments before that public hearing was scheduled. And we endeavored to do that in the intervening time. We provided a supplemental submission in last July, which amended the application to include a steep slopes application, and then we worked to address the town engineer comments and the town planner comments, and we appeared before you last month in order to have the public hearing scheduled. So it took some time for us to make sure we addressed all of the comments, all of the concerns, all the technical issues that were raised, and we're here before you this evening at the public hearing. Before we get into the actual improvements, which include the previously amendments to the previously approved Stafford parking lot, as well as the associated improvements. And Mr. Chairman, you went through kind of a 10,000-foot view of the things we're asking for. I'd like to introduce Judy Clark, the Executive Director of the Creative Arts Center, to give you a little bit more information about the mission of the Creative Arts Center.
And let me just pause for 1 second. For the folks who are here tonight, if you're here for this application and you want to hear better or see better, you're welcome to move up. We're here for you tonight for this public hearing. Welcome.
Before she starts, I'm just going to make a motion to waive the reading of the public notice for this.
Oh, thank you. We have a motion from Jane.
Second.
Second from Eileen. Walter.
Aye.
Jane.
Aye.
Now we have John here.
Aye.
Aye. Joan.
Aye.
Eileen.
Aye.
Judy.
Aye.
And aye for me. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Judy Clark, the Executive Director of the Pecanico Center of the Rockefeller Brothers Fund. And the opening of the DR Center in October of 2022 created a lot of excitement about our arts and culture programming and has been met with overwhelming success. In its first 18 months, it has fast become a fully activated creative art space and community resource, which is just what we intended. A place where artists and the community can come together to develop, present, and experience new works of performing, literary, and visual arts. We continually hear from our neighbors and the community how wonderful it is to have this in their backyard, that they don't have to go to the city for culture. Our programs fill quickly, but we always hold a number of tickets aside for community giveaways. Our engagement with local schools has been well received. Students and faculty from Terrytown, Peekskill, and Ossining have attended numerous programs. We've also hosted some school events. Artists and residents have the rare opportunity to come and create new work and share works in process with the community. The DR Center Art Gallery is free to visit 3 days of the week. It's open to the public. And lastly, our upcoming Community Day is May 18th, and you're all welcome to come. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Chairman, at this time, I think we'd like to go through the slide deck presentation for you.
Sure, thank you. And folks, this is for you. So if we need us to pivot this a little bit, we can. Just make sure you raise your hand and let me know if you can't see or hear.
All right, thank you. I'm Brandon Massey from FX Collaborative Architects. I've been working with the team here and the community here, as well as you, on the DRC for many years, and very excited about the separate phase of work for the Stafford lot and landscape. So as Judy said, this is the completed DR Center, which is one of the highest scoring LEED Platinum projects in the state of New York. We're really excited about the support that this next phase will provide for the center and the building and the community. There's some solar panels in the landscape that contribute to the success of the LEED score. So I'm going to get into some details of the Stafford lot. This is the site today, the areas that we're proposing for additional landscape and amenities that support that landscape in the center. On the left-hand side here is the area of the existing landscape that we refer to as the sculpture garden. It's currently a large lawn surrounded by a stone landscape wall. And on the right-hand side is the entrance to the estate, an area that we refer to as the sculpture walk. You can see there the current blacktop roads that are how you access the site and get to the DR Center from the exterior. As Tony said, we presented about a year ago, and in that presentation we presented this plan. We've really been working to refine the comments that we received then, but we've also had a few changes that we think are best for all parties and really improve the project. So those three main things are adjustments to the scope. One is we removed a lath house, which was an exterior garden pavilion from the scope. That's up at the top of the page. We also chose to limit the site disturbance of a sculpture walk path on the left-hand side here at the bottom, where it's less site disturbance, meaning we would upset the landscape less by keeping some existing boulders in place and running the path through there. We also looked at our plan to move the internal roadways, and we decided to keep them as they are. So this is the plan that we've presented in our submission that we're here for review tonight for. And if there's not any questions, I'll go through each area now.
Okay, and let's just pause for a second. Any questions before we proceed from the board? Okay, I think silence is a no.
All right. So working our way from the right-hand side here, the Stafford lot. This is the Stafford lot today. At the bottom image, you can see it's an existing empty lot, which was used for parking and maintenance and landscape storage. It's surrounded by a really beautiful stone wall, which we all love and we're keeping. On the inside of that lot, at the upper left-hand picture, is a dilapidated, charming but dilapidated brick building that is no longer in use and is a hazard. So we'll be replacing that in kind with a new building of similar size that'll be an attendant building to watch over the visitors as they come and go into this parking lot. And then on the right-hand side, you can see inside that lot is an earth and gravel, really a mud pit that we'll be improving and turning into a more naturally draining parking lot. So that area I just described is the Stafford lot, this kind of triangular shape. At the bottom of the Stafford lot is a pathway, and the pathway is meant to be a walking amenity for visitors. After they park, they can enter the site through that walking path and make their way to the DR Center and access the programs that Judy mentioned. So inside the Stafford lot currently is debris and storage for landscape. Those items need to be replaced in kind, and a place for them has been developed in what we've called the maintenance lot, just north. In this area, we're doing some light regrading and some tree removal. That lot will be a pervious gravel lot as well. So to watch over the ongoing visitors coming and going, this small 600 square foot building with a stone wall, which will be modeled similarly to the stone wall I showed before, which is existing, will wrap around this building, and then it's clad in a cedar siding and a zinc roof. It also contains 2 restrooms for use of the visitors, so that as they come and go, they can use that as needed. So this is the next area that I mentioned, the sculpture walk. This is an image of it today. On the left, you can see the asphalt road that comes through, a little bit of the green rock lot on the right-hand side. And what we're planning to do is really emphasize what's great about the site by adding additional plantings, so native grasses and shrubs that change in the seasons will be added to the perimeter. You can see there's a new footpath, which is great because it allows visitors to not occupy the same roadway as cars in the site, so it makes things safer. We're also integrating bollards and lighting along the way for access in the evening, and potentially some sculptures throughout. So here's a plan of that. Excuse me. The dark areas represent those low native plantings, the light green representing the grass turf that'll remain. So this is out front of the DR Center, just looking north at the existing greenhouse. So similarly, we'll be emphasizing that edge by adding additional plantings and several trees. So there in that dark outline. And then farthest to the east, the sculpture garden area, we'll be taking this existing lawn, potentially adding sculptures to that and emphasizing that edge with both the pathway and additional plants. And there's a plan of that. You can see the boulders that we're keeping and winding the path through. So this is an overlay of everything all together in one drawing, just so that you can see the rather light touch of the pathways and landscape on the existing site. And the finished vision of all of the pieces that I just went through. So if you have any questions, let me know.
Any questions from board members?
The pathways are asphalt. What are they made of?
They are asphalt, but the top of them is going to have a chip finish, which is a lighter color. So it'll have a better albedo, so it won't be absorbing as much heat as a blacktop.
Any other questions?
You mentioned a zinc roof on the service attendance building.
Yes.
What is a zinc roof?
It's a metal roof similar to a standing seam roof. It's the material zinc itself is a natural patina material, not painted.
They're using that a lot now in schools and stuff.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, since we have members of the public here watching, and I think there's one question I'm going to guess that the public is thinking, and I think maybe the director can give a little plug about what you guys do. So if I'm a member of the town of Mount Pleasant, which I am, you can come up if you don't mind. How do I go or attend or participate in the Creative Arts Center? I think it would be kind of a nice plug for your organization and what you do.
You go to pecanico.org and you'll see the listing of all of our public programs. And you also can give us your email address and you'll be on our mailing list, and we send out announcements of our upcoming programs. Our summer programs, the announcement's going out in mid-June, so let me know your email. If you go to pecanico.org, you can sign up.
Thank you. Okay. One last time, any questions or comments from board members? Okay. Let the record show silence is a no from the board. Okay, this is a public hearing, so we're here for the public. Any questions or comments, concerns from the public, please show your hand and we'll give you a number when you come up and address the applicant or actually address us, and we'll address the applicant. Any questions, comments, or concerns from the public on this particular application? This is a public hearing. Again, let the record reflect that there is nobody here tonight for this particular application.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
We have a motion from Joan.
Second.
Second from Jane. Walter.
Aye.
Jane.
Aye.
John. Joan.
Aye.
Eileen.
Aye.
JD.
Aye.
And I for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're good to go. Don't sell past the sale.
A resolution, Mr. Chairman?
Oh, the resolution. Yes, we're slipping tonight. Okay. Details. You know, it's a good thing we have Pat around. All right. So we need a resolution on this one, guys.
I'll make a resolution, a motion that we direct the consultant to draft a site plan.
Okay, motion from Joan,
Second.
second from Jane. Walter?
Aye.
Jane?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Joan?
Aye.
Eileen?
Aye.
JD? Thank you. It's a Thursday. It's a long night for us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, next up is a continuing application versus a public hearing. Item number 3, proposed Brighton Avenue, Bradhurst Avenue, develop a vacant parcels, construct a 3,000 square foot landscape and supply and equipment storage barn, and a 200 square foot detached office building with driveway, parking area, and stormwater mitigation facilities, landscape screen areas. Application site plan SP 23-07, subdivision SD 23-04, steep slope SS. There's two going on here tonight, folks. Subdivision and a steep slope. Steep slope SS 23-13. Location is a vacant parcel on Brighton Avenue, Bradhurst Avenue, Hawthorne. Section block number is 112.9-1-2 and 3. Zone CNR and R10. Owner is Brighton Avenue Properties LLC. Applicant is Brighton Avenue Properties LLC. Engineer architect is KSCG Consulting. So folks, I know there's people here tonight for this particular application, though it's not a public hearing. If you want to come up, please come up and take a seat closer to the front. And let's have the applicant go through their presentation.
We switched them. We did it.
Hi.
Dave Sessions with KSCJ Consulting. Mark DeFabio and Gina DeFabio are here as well. They're the owners of the property. Just a very quick, brief history. We were before your board 3 plus or minus months ago. We had, at that time, satisfied all of the town engineers' technical comments, as well as the town planner's technical comments. I believe that the board was reluctant, and rightfully so, reluctant to send the project over to the zoning board until we had satisfied all of the technical comments. We did. We went to the Zoning Board of Appeals. You might recall the previous proposal was for a 200 square foot plus or minus, basically an office trailer. It was a detached building. There was an office trailer that was going to be about 4 or 5 feet away from the barn. As a result of the office trailer, the barn was the accessory building legally, and we needed 2 variances from the zoning board. One variance was because the accessory building was not supposed to be more than 15 feet in height. We were proposing the building at the time to be 27 feet high, so we needed a variance for that. And also, there was a minimum of 12 feet that is required between the 2 buildings, the modular office building and the accessory building. We were proposing 4 feet at the time. We went into zoning board. As I'm sure you know, the zoning board had denied the request. In not so many words, and if I can kind of use their words, it was basically, you have an alternative. You have a viable alternative other than seeking these variances, and that alternative was, in their opinion, to put the office and the bathroom inside the building. As your board is aware, we've explained it several times, the applicant wanted to keep some flexibility in the beginning and have the office building outside, but be that as it may, zoning board denied it. So we're back here. We've removed that building. Really, the only difference in the site plan now versus 3 or so months ago when we were before you is the building, the smaller building is removed. It's been put inside, and what we did was we just grabbed 1 more parking space and re-landscaped the area that was previously taken up by the office modular building. Other than that, there are absolutely no changes to the site plan. 3 months ago that your board had reviewed it and sent it over to zoning. So essentially, we're really here tonight just to reintroduce ourselves and say we went to zoning, we're back, we've removed the modular office, nothing else has changed other than the adding of the parking space, and we're asking the board to basically set the public hearing for site plan subdivision, steep slopes.
Okay, let's talk to the board first, just really quick, though. So you have two applications, one's a steep slope, and one's the subdivision. Can you just enumerate the subdivision a bit?
Yeah, sure.
Help refresh our memory?
Yep. Okay. So the existing lot line, I don't know if you can see it, but the existing lot line is indicated with this light dashed black line that comes down here. What we are proposing is to shift that lot line approximately 30 feet back to the west. So the new lot line is indicated in the red line here. This portion of the exterior lot will remain the same. And this portion of the existing lot line, again, will move to here. So this lot is increasing in size. This lot, which is in the residential district, is decreasing in size.
So you're increasing the commercial, decreasing the residential?
Correct.
Okay.
The residential is significantly oversized. It's 35,393 square feet. It's in an R10,000 zone, so it's 3+ times the size that it needs to be. And quite frankly, what we're taking away from the residential lot is mostly in steep slopes, at least in this area, and it's essentially undevelopable down here anyway.
And the steep slope part of the application, can you just enumerate that a little bit too?
Yeah.
High level. We went through it before. I know there's folks sitting here tonight. I want to make sure we just sort of, even though it's not a public hearing, I want to make sure we explain it.
Yeah, let me just grab the existing conditions plan. So this is the existing lot line, and as I said, we're taking that line and shifting it back. So essentially, the area in this vicinity here is pretty much all steep slopes as defined by the town. And what we're doing is, when we're grading the embankment behind the building, we need to cut anywhere from 1.5 feet to about 3 feet, and we would be disturbing these slopes back here. Pretty much this entire area and about half of this area will be disturbance. And there's a little bit of disturbance to steep
Can you do me a
slopes.
favor? Can you just pivot this? Because I know people are leaning over.
I'm sorry.
Well,
You can come up a little bit,
come
too.
on, come on.
You
Just-
can move up, it's all right.
You're not going to see back there. So if you want to see, just come on
All
up.
right, all right, good.
You see how these contours are tighter together than, say, these contours? So this area is a steep slope, this area is a steep slope.
Okay, so we're gonna do a couple things here, guys. Before we do that, we're not gonna do this a little bit. We can't have people, the applicant talking to the public. So
We have here, it's flooded out already.
okay, so I just
What are we
need.
gonna do when we break that dirt?
We're not going to go into that just yet. We're going to get into all that, but right now we're in a formal process. We're going to have to allow the applicant to go through the process that he has to go through. And then when we get to a public hearing comment period, which is not tonight, we're going to have to go through all these details. We have a lot more to go in this application, so hold your horses a bit, if you don't mind. Okay, so you were saying?
Yeah, no, so we put together a steep slope analysis plan, which is part of your package, and it's right here if you need to see it. And the disturbances to those steep slopes, we've quantified them in the application materials. And that's part of our application. We need to be granted a steep slope permit from your board for disturbance to the slopes.
So the disturbance is close to the residential area in part, and as well as other parts of the property, correct?
It is close to the residential area. It is probably anywhere from 15 to 30 feet below topographically
Okay.
from the residential area, just to give you an idea.
I have a question, Dave.
Yeah.
If you weren't asking for a lot line revision, would you have to affect the steep slopes?
Probably.
As much as
Yeah.
we're doing today?
It depends on the width of the building, and it depends on the height of the building. See, if you didn't do the lot line change, the width of the building would have been modified, and then additional grading might have been required.
So I'm going to
So-
take that as an affirmative, right? Because I think what JD is asking is us changing the lot, does it increase or decrease the steep slope disturbance? And it sounds like it's increasing it, right?
It probably is increasing it. I haven't done that analysis, but yeah, I would say that it's probably increasing
So that's
it.
something we probably want to dig into at some point. So, and JD, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just wanted to jump in on that.
It's okay.
Anything else, JD?
I'm gonna let you finish. I do have other questions, but I'll let you finish.
But before we leave that, I just have a question. It looks like all of your development is occurring on that lot line, in the lot as it exists. So why do you need to adjust that lot line at all? Could you not do the grading in there without adjusting the lot line? Why is that necessary?
No, only because although the lot is relatively gently sloped from back to front, there is still a grade change. So the building has to be set on a level elevation. The parking lot
Can you do me a
is set-
favor? There's people trying to see. Can you just try to move that?
But it looks like the only thing you're doing in that leg that goes out behind the property is grading. You don't have any structures in there, you don't have
No.
any paving in there.
Correct.
So couldn't you do that without adjusting the lot line?
If you didn't,
No.
if you didn't adjust the lot line, you couldn't put a retaining wall there?
No, because the property line would then be here, and we have certain setbacks, front yard, rear yard setbacks.
It's a constrained lot.
So it's a very narrow lot, so we have a 30-foot setback,
Okay.
rear yard setback.
Putting anything in there, you just needed to meet zoning requirements.
Well, and grading. There is grading associated, and what I was getting at is, there is a slope from back to front, so when we level off the site, there's a fill section in the front, and there's a cut section in the back. So when we're into a cut in the back, we've got to make up that grade, which means we've got to regrade that embankment going up. So it's, the site needs to be flattened out in order for it to be developed.
And also, can you show where the zoning district line is between residential and
Yep.
C?
It's the existing lot line, which is right there.
So this is also then an amendment to the zoning map if we're shifting it?
No,
If
It's
zoning-
not.
The zoning district boundary wouldn't change, the property boundary would.
I see.
yeah.
If you did get the lot line change, how are you gonna delineate the lots between what the commercial lot is versus the residential lot? Is there gonna be a fence?
No, there's no fence proposed. There is a drainage diversion swell. I know that, I'm trying to have everybody see this, and
Yeah,
it's not really possible.
No, but we're doing better than we were before. So.
Yeah, but
Now JD can't see.
Yeah,
So just bump it back. And folks, if you know.
I can see that.
So there's a drainage diversion swell located here in order to take any surface drainage that's coming off the hillside and divert it around. The swell is essentially running along the new property line. I mean, I don't see why we couldn't monument the property line or stake it, do some permanent staking so that it's, you can see it in the field. Is that what you're getting at? You want to know exactly where it is
Yeah.
in the
I think-
field?
I mean,
I mean, they're, you know, they'll be
There's
staked
concern
out.
about, you know, that there's gonna be spillover into the existing residential lot.
I know, that comment has come up many, many times. There will not be spillover into the residential lot. You can see the grade change. It's not reasonable to come up this hill to whatever, store materials, encroach. It's just not,
Well, there's
it's
another
too steep of
entrance
a
though, right?
slope.
But there's another entrance.
No, there's not another
Not another
entrance. No. This lot is residential. They ultimately, if this lot is ultimately developed, will gain access from Jackson. That's it. This lot,
Right, so that.
that's the
entrance-
only
That
entrance.
shaded entrance that's there right now, that's proposed, that's not.
This?
current no, okay.
No, on the other side.
No, the reason why we're showing that, we had to show that for zoning compliance. We needed to make sure that when we develop this lot, we were not creating a nonconformity on this lot. So this is all make-believe. Even though it works from an engineering standpoint, and the town engineer reviewed it and vetted it, and so did Mr. Cleary, this is shown only for feasibility, that we can make this work, and we can make this work together. That's the only reason why that's being shown on the plan. There's nothing proposed there
Okay.
at this time.
How many trucks does the applicant have that are gonna be going in and out here?
We have 6 trucks. 6. And that's a combination of pickup with a landscape trailer, another pickup with a landscape trailer, and Mark, you can probably speak more intelligently to this than I can. Would you like to? Okay.
And does that also include delivery trucks?
There's no deliveries. We've mentioned this.
Is there another yard? You have another yard?
Do I have another yard? Yeah, I have another location in the Bronx. Oh, sorry. I have another location in the Bronx. We run the business out of 2 areas, up here and Bronx.
So in this location, you're only gonna have 6 trucks, no trailers, these are pickup trucks?
We have small dump trucks and pickup trucks with trailers, small dump truck with a trailer, landscape trailers, not tractor trailers.
Okay.
People, I've heard word out there on the street,
I know
tractor
that.
trailers are coming in
So-
and out, we're selling product, we're storing gravel, we don't do that. We're a lawn maintenance company, we do landscaping work, and we store anything inside the building, you know, just for landscaping purposes.
And
So what happens at the end of the day when the trucks come back and they got debris and leaves or you know, cut grass?
All of
or-
that stays in the truck. Then when trucks get full, we dump them either at Chappaqua dump or Bulfamonte dump in Rye. So,
Not daily? They'll come back full?
no, they'll be half full, they'll be partially full, and then during the course of the day, if the truck gets filled up, they dump it, you know, we don't want trucks filled with debris. You know, that's not what we do. We don't store stuff, we don't dump debris at the property.
But-
That's not how we work.
But that's your business, right? So 20 years from now. you
I've been in
sell-
business for 37
I
years,
know.
and my son is in the business, he's
Uh,
34 years
Well, let me
old.
finish my thought, because that building at some point in the future will be sold to somebody, right?
I hope not.
Well, it could. Would you agree
Anything
that
can
it's
happen.
possible?
Anything's possible.
Okay. So that's why we're not looking just at the individual business owner. It's also any future business owners as well. So
Okay.
we have to think that in mind as well.
There's also a number of different businesses that could actually be done there also.
Yes, I know,
That are
yeah.
a lot worse than what I'm proposing.
Or better.
Or, no.
Or
Not on the
better.
list.
So, okay.
What is the,
Yeah.
what is the property zone for right now? What is it approved to build it? Is it, Pat, is it approved to build a commercial building like this on
The
it right now?
building inspector rendered an opinion that this is a permissible use.
And is there any comment on the other end? Is it approved for residential or not?
So that's, the other property is residential, it's R10 residential zone.
That's your property.
Yes.
One day you may want to build houses there, right?
I might want to build my house there.
You may want to build your house there. Okay, so my question is that everything that we're looking at above that landscape yard, office, above that, what?
That's my house, above where
Yeah,
he's talking
okay, you're
about.
up high, right?
It's right above there, yes.
So what,
I'm looking right down at it.
As is.
Okay, guys,
right,
let's just,
okay, I get it, I'm just asking a question.
Sorry.
Everything's flowing down towards you, right?
Mm-hmm.
All the water from everybody who lives up, where do you live?
344 Jackson.
344 Jackson, they're all coming down this way, right? All coming into your yard?
There's wetlands here too.
What?
There's wetlands on that lot as well.
There's no wetlands.
okay, so we're not guys, we are not gonna go back and forth tonight. So when we get to the public hearing, we're gonna have a lot more dialogue, but they are not at a public hearing yet. So,
So my question is, everything's up high and everything's flowing down to you. And all you want to do is grade it, back up the property line, grade it. And when that water comes down that hill, is this soil stabilized? I mean,
Yeah, well-
why wouldn't, I mean, if it was me and if it was my property, I would put a retaining wall up there to stabilize it. You know, if that water's coming down from all these residents here, you know,
Well-
I don't want it coming in my building, right? It's gonna come right
No.
through your doors.
I can speak to that.
Go ahead.
The drainage patterns right now, today, are going to be no different than they are when this thing gets built, right? It's the same hill, it's the same drainage. There's no erosion on this hillside now.
Right.
Now, that's not what I'm getting at, but that's just a matter of fact. The town engineer has reviewed this. We did an overall drainage analysis. Okay? We are taking additional steps to put in these diversion swells. I don't want to get too deep into the weeds, but
Go ahead.
to put in these diversion swells so that in a 100-year storm event,
Yeah, we'll pass that.
the water is actually diverted around the steep slopes, which quite frankly, we're responsible for doing. The whole reason why you don't want to disturb steep slopes is to prevent soil erosion. That's one of the reasons, but it's a main reason. We're diverting it. It's best management practices. That's what we're doing. So we're going above and beyond what's happening now. Again, the water that's flowing down here is flowing down here today. There's no erosion. We're taking additional steps in the event that there
What about a
is.
detention system?
That
We-
was my
we-
next question. Is
we-
the town engineer any type of dry wells, detention system?
They have a,
You know, I'm surprised we're still talking about this. We proposed this 6 months ago.
Yes, okay, I'm sorry.
The town engineer has reviewed this on 3 different occasions. I've met with the town engineer twice. There's an underground detention system here. There's an underground Cultec infiltration system here. There's an underground Cultec infiltration system here. We've done deep tests. We've done percolation tests. It's all been designed. It's been reviewed by the engineering department. The stormwater pollution prevention plan has been reviewed and signed off on. It's all per DEC, Speedy's permit, and the town's stormwater and drainage law. Yes. I mean, you know, we've been at this 6 to 8 months now, going back and forth with the town engineer, with Mr. Cleary on all of the zoning and planning issues. And we got to a point 3 months ago where the planning board was seemingly comfortable enough to refer it to zoning for them to make their decision. Now we're back here and we're kind of revisiting things that have quite frankly been taken care of.
but
But
that's the process though, right? Right, am I right? I mean, it's the process that we're gonna go
yeah,
through.
but
So-
nothing has changed since the
Okay.
last time we reviewed this.
Are you referring to me, I shouldn't have asked that question?
No,
I
no,
forgot.
no. No.
Oh, okay.
It's just,
I
you
just
know,
like to review, because I want everybody else to hear it too, that's all.
they've
Okay.
heard it.
So,
I have. Tonight's the first time I've seen this.
okay,
Okay.
so any other questions or comments from board members? I have a couple, but I want to ask my fellow board members. Any other questions or comments?
I have a question. Your business, does it run 12 months out of the year, or do you shut down during the winter?
We do commercial snow plowing in the winter.
Guys, we're not
Is this
gonna,
an open-
we're-
This is not a public hearing, so please be quiet.
didn't hear the last question, I'm sorry. I heard 12 months, and I didn't hear after that.
Yeah, guys, I'm gonna have to stop. Like, I know there's a lot of thoughts in this. This is not a public hearing. There will be plenty of times they're not there yet. So let us go through what we need to go through. We're going through all the questions that we can think of, and just sit tight. So just let everybody do their job that they need to do. So, Caroline, are you good?
No,
Yes.
The last thing I heard was the business runs 12 months a year, and that's how I couldn't make it.
And then he said they do snow plowing.
Oh, still found?
Yes.
That's where we start.
Depends on the weather. We work during the winter. If the weather is mild, we continue doing other types of work with, with the landscape business. When it does snow, which it doesn't snow that often anymore, we do commercial snow plowing. We don't store bulk salt at the property. We just get in the trucks, leave, go do commercial sites, come back and park the trucks. That's all we do.
So say, in a snow plowing event or cold weather,
I can't hear you.
in the event of a snow plowing event and your staff shows up, are you running your trucks idling, warming them up before
No.
they head out to plow?
No, we start them up and we leave.
Cold.
No, we don't keep trucks running idle. I can't hear you.
Guys, we have to allow this applicant to go through the process. I'm going to stop here for 1 minute. We have to, he has the right to go through the process. You have the right to be here, but please let him present without shouting and disrupting the application, please. Thank you. Thank you. Go ahead, Walter.
These are not tractor trailers that have to be started up, diesel fluid, get ungelled or anything like that. You literally start the truck up, get in it, and leave.
So they're all
That's what we
gas-
do.
all gas
They're not all gas, some are diesel, but diesel trucks today are not like the diesel trucks of yesteryear, where you have to, tractor trailer, you have to plug them in, start. No, that's not how they are now. They run basically like a gasoline engine.
So typically your operation,
Is out. It's not there.
but during the lawn care months,
Right.
do you work 7 days a week?
6 days. We don't work on Sundays.
So you work Saturday?
Work Saturday.
But say in the winter during a snow plow event, you could actually be working Saturday and Sunday, depending on the weather.
Sure. Getting the trucks, pulling out, and going to sites that we maintain.
Okay. So can you just reiterate to us and to the people out there, your vehicles and how they enter and exit this proposed driveway into traffic there? And
How do
describe
I
your...
propose it? I
Yes.
think it's on here.
Well,
It's
I'd
on-
like you to reiterate yourself or your engineer as to how your truck movements are coming out of that driveway, getting in and going out. I guess depending on...
They're going to come straight forward in, not backing in, and they're going to go straight out, not backing out. So we're never going to make a U-turn in the street and back in. We're going to come in, and there's a flow of traffic set up so that we can make a turn in the yard and park the trucks facing out. So in the morning or during a snow event, trucks are facing out, and they go straight out of the yard.
But say in your lawn care season, you have one of your dump trucks pulling a trailer with substantial length. He's exiting in the morning, he comes to the end of your driveway, and I guess depending on where he's headed, he's heading left, right, or is he permitted to go straight right through the intersection there, down, I guess, Bradhurst to where the labor union is? Because when you come up from 9A, you're not towards the Sprain.
If I can interject, as part of not only the town engineer's review, and the town engineer had many comments about traffic circulation, internal parking, where are employees going to idle their cars, move their cars while they get into the vehicle, and then park their cars for the day. Not only that, but the New York State DOT, as you know, is in control of this road. It's a state road. So we need a New York State DOT curb cut permit for this driveway. As you can imagine, They had many, many comments about traffic circulation and so forth. We've put together, which is in your package, 3 different truck turning movement plans that show trucks coming in. Yeah, I mean, if the board, you okay with them coming up? I mean,
Yeah, if
it's hard to,
Yeah, you can't,
hard
yeah.
to get
Can you see?
everybody here. And this is
JD, you all right?
public record.
Yeah, I'm
You know,
fine.
the plans are in the town. You can go check them out anytime you want. But the largest vehicle that it would ever utilize, oh, that's a better idea, utilize this site, including fire truck, we've had to analyze. Coming in, which is why we've got this turnaround area here and back out area, and then backing out, or not backing out, going out forward. There'll be no vehicle re-entering the road going backwards. There's adequate maneuverability within the site to turn around and to go out to the road straight. It was a challenge. That was one of the other reasons why the width of the lot was challenging, because we do have parking spaces here. So a vehicle had to make this 3-point turn within the site itself while vehicles were actually parked. And this is all part of the package that we submitted to DOT, to the town engineer. It's been reviewed by DOT, reviewed by the town engineer. They've all been satisfied with the truck turning circulation
Mr. Sessions,
pattern.
my line of questioning is more on the driveway out into public space, not so much as what's occurring on your property. Because there appears to be a safety concern amongst all of entering and exiting that driveway at its location. Okay. When you come out of the driveway, you have a line of sight, say going left, which is like towards 9A, or say going to the right up the hill towards, say, the church. Okay.
Yep.
The line of sight, when I visited, is very minimum when you look, say, down the hill, when you come out.
Correct.
Looking up the hill, you have, say, a greater distance. But trying to cross that intersection, if you're going to go down the hill, say, towards the Sprain, now you're crossing the 2 lanes of traffic, and you have an intersection there. I think it's Brighton and and then Taylor. Right. So my question is, what did you do, Mr. Sessions, to study this intersection with your driveway? Has there been a traffic analysis performed, say a level of service performed? Have you done traffic counts? Has this information been studied and forwarded to the state DOT? What information have you provided to the DOT that they came up with a determination to issue a curb cut?
The DOT typically will require traffic analysis, traffic counts, if there's a question as to what they call warrants, and that is the number of vehicles passing a certain intersection within the morning rush hour or the evening rush hour. The DOT is very, very familiar with this site. We've had them out there on 2 occasions. They did not warrant any traffic studies. They know the intersection, and they know their warrants. They were concerned with the trucks being able to come in and out from every direction, and they were also obviously concerned with the sight distance, as you referred to. Coming out of our driveway looking left, if you look at it now, I think it's a 70 to 100-foot distance. It's nothing. We're proposing retaining walls and cutting back within our property to increase the sight distance to 230 or 235 feet from the 70 or 80 that exists today. It's a tremendous improvement. It's not perfect. The intersection is not perfect. Everybody knows the intersection, all right? But this is a piece of property that was developed previously. It's owned by someone They have the right, someone has the right to develop it, and the DOT and the town engineer and us, we looked at it and said, what is the best possible location? We analyzed different locations along the frontage. DOT came back and said, you know what? Where they had that driveway 60, 70 years ago, that's where it wants to be because of the sight distance, especially looking west. And we're now able to improve it threefold almost, looking to the east. It will be a tremendous improvement to safety once this retaining wall is put in and the sight distance is increased to 230 feet. Tremendous.
Though in the DOT's approval letter, they do not mention a site visit at all. They just refer to documents, an application, and plans that were submitted.
Yeah.
There's no reference to a site visit.
There were site visits.
But
do you know
there's
when they
there's
were?
no reference in this letter.
I can provide you with the dates.
I think you should do that,
Okay, we can do that.
because it's just being out there.
I can tell you the DOT was out at the Amazon property, as you can imagine, dozens of times. There was one particular day where one of my engineers was out with Ann Derilius from the DOT, and she was examining the traffic at the Amazon site, and they went right up to this site because they were literally 2 minutes away. And you were there another time. Ann Derilius, who I do not think signed the letter, she's one of the local DOT employees. That's probably why it's not mentioned in the letter, because Ann actually visited the site and not the gentleman that wrote the letter. But the gentleman that wrote the letter could very well have visited the site too, without my knowledge. I don't know. But they were out there at least on 2 occasions.
He's not a DOT direct employee, he's a consultant, the person that signed the letter.
I'm sorry?
The individual who signed the letter is not a DOT employee, he's a consultant working for the DOT.
Well, he works for the DOT. He's responsible for permitting at the DOT.
In my opinion, and in speaking to the board, I feel that there is more attention needs to be focused on that particular driveway entrance, whether it be a further traffic study, because of the situation, not only with your employees entering and exit, but the people coming out of Jackson Avenue, people coming up out of 9A, people coming down 100, that whole area. And that's my opinion.
And I've neglected to say, it's on the plans that your board has as further mitigation, not only increasing the site distance to 230 feet as further mitigation, there's signage being installed
So what,
along the road.
so I would say too, like, I feel that we need more input from some kind of independent analysis of it's, because I'm not even sure at this point, because I don't have a whole lot to go on right now, other than you're telling me that they visited the site and that the town has reviewed everything, but what do we have in terms of like times of day? Is the DOT looking at it during rush hours? Are they looking at it during lunchtime? Are they looking at it at 7 o'clock at night? And this particular spot is probably one of the more dangerous spots in Mount Pleasant with that curve and those intersections and everything else going on over there. In good conscience, you have to make sure that nobody gets hurt. And so I do echo what Walter was saying. We probably need a little bit more input so we can prepare this conversation for ourselves as well as the public when and if we do get to a public hearing. There's a missing piece of information here on the traffic.
Can I make
Yep.
I have a question. So if you get more of a traffic study or a DOT proper paperwork, what you say you have, give it to Pat so he can distribute to the board. And these studies that we need, can we do those studies and a public hearing? Because it seems like the public can't, they want to talk, so let them talk. But they can't talk now. Let them talk when we have all the paperwork that we should have, that some of the board members want. Let's get it here, and open it up. I mean, that's just me.
I have a question before we get there. So, let's say the applicant is perfect, runs a business impeccably. Everything that you guys are saying is factual. He's not gonna have any stored material there, there's not gonna be any salt, there's not gonna be, any of these things that we're discussing that shouldn't be there, that would constitute this as a construction yard, which is not permissible there, right? So, my question is, maybe this is to Pat. So, how do we ensure that, number one? Number two, if this applicant decides to retire, sell, if his son doesn't want the business anymore, and this goes on to somebody else, how do we enforce that this stays as they're stating that it would, and that this is not a construction yard?
Yeah, so it's a challenging issue, JD, because you would impose lots of conditions. Most of those conditions are simply operational. You can't do this and you can't do that. What if they do, right? So every instance where you could physically restrict something from happening, like prohibiting a left turn lane, for example, that's a physical improvement that you can impose on the site. Those are things that are easy to do. The operational things, applicants violate those all the time. I mean, the building inspector can violate them, but it's more difficult to impose conditions of approval that are enforceable when we promise not to do something kind of condition.
Is it possible that the applicant puts up a performance bond or something of that nature?
So that's an interesting conversation, JD. We have in the past imposed operational performance bonds related to some operational aspect of the use of the site. So we can certainly discuss that with the town attorney to make sure that that's copacetic, that that's a legally appropriate imposition of a condition. But that's one way to establish some meaningful enforcement criteria.
It seems to me that if Mark and Gina sell the property and another owner comes in and they start stockpiling salt, and I have a feeling that in 10 minutes, the building department's going to hear about it, and rightfully so, and they should. I mean, I can't imagine that happening, and I can't imagine the town not cracking down on them, because I know there'll be a lot of noise made. I mean, it's, you're going to have your eye on it, and rightfully so. I mean, they're not going to get away with anything. That's the fact. But,
Of course.
Okay. I'm a Mount Pleasant resident, okay? I've been running this business for over 37 years. I've lived in Mount Pleasant for over 32 years. I do business in the area, a lot of business in the area. This is, my name is on this property here. So I want the property to be the best property there is out there. I want it to look like a show place. I have a landscaping business. I don't have a construction yard. I don't sell material. We don't do stuff like that. So I also have a building in the Bronx. We don't store anything in there. We park our trucks in the building. They go out in the morning. The same thing's going to be happening here. So we're going to park our trucks, go do our work. We service many people in Mount Pleasant and the surrounding areas, and we provide a valuable service, and we're a proud member of the community. So, I'm not a fly-by-night. We're a family-run business, and, we're not looking to do anything.
I'm not disputing that. I'm not disputing that, and I've heard good things about you and the way you run your business.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
But nevertheless, we have a letter here that has 80 signatures from your neighbors. That's not something that we could just dismiss. We have to do our job up here. So, like I said, you might run your business perfect. We never have an issue with you. But eventually you can sell this. And then we approve this. And I'm in the business. I know what happens at the end of the day when these guys come back and they're rushing out to go home.
Okay.
Maybe you can enforce it better than I can.
Okay.
But things happen. So we got to cross our T's and
But
dot
isn't
our
that
I's.
like any business?
What's that?
Isn't that like any business?
Sure it is, but there's
Okay.
not any business that's in front of us. You're in front of us.
Okay.
So that's what I have to address.
I mean, I have to say, going back to I'm highly concerned about the angle and the traffic and where that site is. That location's constrained for a reason, and it was probably designed the way it was designed initially for a reason. So I personally would like to see more input, whether it's a traffic study or more information from the DOT, and I would prefer a traffic study, and here's why. I want to see different times of the day. I don't want to hear that the DOT did some analysis once or twice. We don't know what time, we don't know when they came. I don't really understand exactly how they came to the conclusion of just how they came to their conclusion. Really, all I'm hearing from you is that they came and they saw and they approved.
Well, and they've analyzed the site distance and the fill analysis, and there have been engineering drawings for the last 8 months that they've been reviewing and the town engineer's been reviewing.
Yep.
And if I can say one more thing, and I don't want to read a litany of all of the permitted uses that can be on this site, okay? This is, and I know you've heard it before, and the board's probably heard it before, when you look at the way this business is run, they start their cars in the morning and they leave, and they come back at night. The site is quiet the entire day. This is not a CVS. This is not a massage parlor. This is not a school. I mean, that's 3 out of 65 uses that could be approved on this site. Something will be approved on this site, and the entrance will be here because it's the safest entrance that we have. That's the fact of the matter. That's where the entrance needs to be. We've improved it.
I just need to understand, as a board member, I need to know, I want to put my head on the pillow at night and know in good conscience that no one's going to get clipped or
Well,
killed.
you know what? You can get clipped on a site distance of 950 feet. You can't guarantee anything. But your town engineer and the New York State DOT that controls this road has said this is the best alternative. It's not perfect, but it's the best alternative. Now, to put the applicant through thousands and thousands of additional dollars for traffic studies where we're going to end up in the same spot is unfortunate. This is where it has to be.
Okay. Sure, grab the mic.
Okay. If my business isn't, allowed to go there, what business would be allowed to go there? And
I'm not going to answer that question.
no, but would it still be using? It needs
Yeah,
access. It's a commercial lot.
And if, guys, again, I'm going to ask you one last time. We're going through this application. He has the right to go through this application, whether you like it or not. Let him go through the process. When we get to the public hearing conversation, game's on. But let's go through this formal process.
That is a commercial lot, and it has to be used for something.
Correct.
It can't stay vacant forever.
So would it be fair to say that any application that is going to be built on that site is going through a similar mechanism of lot line adjustment, the steep slope permit would need to come to this board, right? Okay.
And the access would be where the access
Yeah, and that,
We're-
well, what I'm hearing is, well, it could be worse, and we're going to threaten you with another business, right? And that's what I'm not liking. So this application before us, there's not a massage parlor, there's not anything else, there's not a CVS. What's before us tonight is this application. It is our job to make sure that we're making an informed decision. I have told you several times, I'm feeling like I do not have enough information to make an informed decision, whether or not the schedule's for public hearing. The public has expressed many times, and I have also expressed concerns about that angle and the traffic and all of that. And it's something we need to handle. It's something we need to be concerned about, because if someone gets killed on there, I'm not sleeping at night.
I understand that.
So, all right. So what do we want to do with this application, folks? Board members?
What are the options on the table?
I think the options on the table is we need more information as a board, as an individual on the board, and I don't know about anybody else on the board.
Well, we need specific information.
So whether we need a traffic study or we need information from the DOT, but we need something, what I want as one board member to get my vote is I want to see specifically times of days. I want to know 6 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock at night. Like, And I know your business is not running at 12 o'clock at night, but rush hour is a big problem in that street. I sat over there myself, and there's cars, boom, 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 up and down. And on top of that, you have the other lot in the back that is probably going to be built at some point too. So I want to make sure that we have enough analysis and study to understand that condition before we can even present it to the public.
So, Mr. Chairman, what I can offer, I'm sorry, Joan, is that ordinarily you'd give the applicant the opportunity to provide that information to you.
No.
So they've met with DOT, they've done analyses and studies. Some of those we have not seen. Some of the conversations with DOT, we don't know what that was. There may be minutes from those meetings. The applicant should be given an opportunity to submit whatever they believe they need to give you to justify their position.
So-
if you are unsatisfied with that, you can always retain your own traffic consultant. An intermediate step might be for the town to engage with DOT to find out what they were basing their decision on too. I'm not sure if Dave was out there when you were meeting with DOT or not, so that could be an intermediate step as well. But ordinarily with every applicant, you give them an opportunity to respond to what they heard tonight.
And there was one of the email came out that there was an impact study on Jackson Avenue in the past that the town did in the highway department. It would be interesting if we can grab that study as well.
Do you think you could get the details from the DOT that made their decision, what they based their decision on? That might be all we need.
The details on which the DOT and the town engineer based their decisions on are all here. They're all in submission cover letters to them, response letters back to us, resubmissions to them with revisions, response letters back to us. That is all in the record, and that your town has all of that information.
So I think, Dave, what you're hearing is package that for us so that the board can trace the trail. I don't think we're disputing that you did that, but the board is not aware of that. So repackage it,
Dave,
explain it, give a cover letter, explain it to them.
And Dave's response.
And can we dig into what this impact study, what that was done several years ago by the town?
I'll look into that, Mr.
Yep.
Chairman. I'm not sure.
Yep.
Doesn't the town have a traffic and safety department that could look into it?
No, but you retain traffic consultants from
But our,
Okay, anything else?
So we are not, are we setting a public hearing date, or you need us to resubmit information?
I think you're hearing generally from the board, they're looking for, unless other board members have other opinions, I think you're hearing from the board, we need more data, more information.
Okay, but I'm not clear. We're going to repackage everything that we've already submitted. We're going to repackage it, resubmit it, and then...
I, as one board member, would like everything repackaged the way Jim has stated. Repackage everything. We're going to get it before we have our next board meeting, before you're scheduled to come again, and we'll have knowledge of it, and do a public hearing, let everybody talk.
But where we're going to run
Well,
into
we
a
can
problem,
review
if
it.
that study does not show times of day, I think we're going to have another conversation.
So that's what he's getting, I'm sorry, but that's what Jim is getting at. So
Yeah.
he wants to repackage it so he could see it.
Right.
If the information he's requesting is there. If it's not there, then he wants another study done.
Right, because
Because you've got site distances and turning radius and, but when is it busy on the roadway? I don't know if that was included in your documentation. I don't know your hours of operation. You might be out before school buses are out. You might be, I don't know what your
No,
hours of
the DOT, more than any other agency, is well aware of peak hours. And when things are submitted to them, applications are submitted to them, they know exactly when the peak hours are. They have traffic counts on their own roads. Quite frankly, they don't require these studies because they know. This is all they do. They deal with roads. So based on the data that we've supplied and based on the data that they know, they've made a decision, as opposed to dragging it out for a year or two, asking for traffic studies when they already know the answers. I mean, forgive me, and I appreciate the board wanting more data, but everything you see here, the truck turning, the employee staging area, the site distance analysis, this was all generated by comments from Dave Smith and from the DOT. There's a record here that your board has been privy to the whole time. This is the culmination of all of the
Okay,
comments
so-
that they had.
So at the end of the day, we think we're getting direction from the board that we need to get more data. I particularly, as one board member, would be interested in understanding times of day. So if you have that data is already done by the DOT, great, can you provide it? And then we can revisit the conversation.
Okay.
I'm sorry, and would that data be on a 40-foot, not pickup truck, a dump truck with a trailer that pulls off slow out, that has the fish hook in into the oncoming traffic?
Okay. We're gonna see the data that they have, and if that data meets our requirements, then we're gonna move forward. If it doesn't,
Does that data refer to, does that data apply to a car, or does it apply to?
we're gonna look at the data they provide, and we'll see what it
It's
says.
exactly the trailers and a fire truck apparatus
All right, guys.
without a hitch.
All right, I think we're at a point, we're at a point where we probably have gone beyond what we need to. Okay, we're gonna get the data, and we're gonna see what it says. All right? Anything else?
No.
All right, thank you very much. Next up on the agenda. All right, item number 4, proposed Kensico Preserve, Toll Brothers proposed 162 age-restricted multifamily townhouse development on the parcel previously approved for the Kensico Preserve residential subdivision previously known as Baker, which lies between Columbus Avenue, Westlake Drive, and Thornwood. Application Town Board Referral TBR 23-01, subdivision SD 23-03, site plan SP 23-05, steep slopes SS 23-12, wetlands 23-03, location vacant parcel, Columbus Avenue, Thornwood, section block lot number is 112.16-1-1, zone OB1, owner Legions of Christ Incorporated, applicant Toll Brothers Incorporated, engineer architect JMT Engineering PLLC, attorney Zarin and Steinmetz LLP, petitioner and contract vendees Toll Brothers Incorporated. I should get used to saying this. All right. Welcome, and just your name and all that for the record, so you know the skill and drill.
Good evening, Brett Schwartz from Zarin and Steinmetz. With me tonight again, Kevin E. Moses from Toll Brothers and James Karras from JMC Engineering. So since we were last before your board in February, your town's wetland consultant issued a favorable report with respect to the new proposed wetland crossing, concluding that it is a more beneficial proposal than what was already approved under Baker. So you should have received that letter, I think, just last week. Second, JMC has been back and forth with your town engineer with respect to the engineering comments. By and large, I think they've all been satisfied. I know there's one issue outstanding that Darius is going to weigh in on, but the engineering comments have been essentially resolved. So we're here tonight to simply request the scheduling of a public hearing.
Okay, thank you very much. I saw the note from town. Engine, there's really nothing outstanding. Pat confirming there's nothing outstanding on this particular application.
Just to move to public hearing.
So what does this mean to the folks who are here tonight? This means the applicant has gone through all the steps, and what they're going to provide and what they're going to present to you is the town is comfortable with in terms of not approving the application, but more, it's ready for public comment, which is where we need you. We need you guys to bring your input and your information, especially for folks that live in the close proximity to the neighborhood. We want you to come to that public hearing, and there can be more than one public hearing, and provide as much information that helps us make an informed decision. What we're doing tonight is just making sure the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. They've gone through quite an extensive period of development of the application. We may agree or disagree with elements or some of it or all of it, but we don't know where it's going to land. This is what the town is comfortable with in terms of dotting the I's and crossing the T's, and that's where we are tonight. So any questions or comments from board members on this particular application? Okay, so what would you like to do with this application, folks?
I make a motion to open a public hearing.
Oh, I'm sorry, Stephen. Hey, come on up. You're hiding behind Pat.
Good evening. Stephen Cavey, Conservation Advisory Council Chair. I know you're moving quickly through, and it's been a long night, so I just wanted to raise just a couple quick points. But before I do that, I just want to say an issue on process and procedure, and that is that I did receive today the comments from the wetlands consultant, Landtech, from a site visit that was conducted that we had, of course, supported and suggested, and that was the conclusions were consistent with what the CAC felt as the applicant had proposed, that this was a less impactful crossing of the wetlands. The concern that I have, though, Mr. Chairman and board members, is that this site visit that was conducted by Landtech, the CAC was not notified about it at all. And it had been the process and procedure over, dare I say, even perhaps decades, that the council had always worked in conjunction with wetlands consultants, raised whatever significant issues there might be, so that when they did a site visit, those issues were all addressed. Landtech did a good job about it. But in addition to that, that at the time of a site visit, that the Conservation Advisory Council had an opportunity to coordinate their comments with the applicant at the site and with the consultant, so that we were fully informed and aware of what was going on. So I don't know whether this was an oversight. I'm hoping that it's not some new process, because we had always been involved in this thing, and I want to say that we continue to expect it. And let me just add one other very important and critical element. The Conservation Advisory Council, by code, has all wetlands permits referred to them for comment and review. So we can't do a thorough comment and review if we're not included in site visits and site inspections. Now, there was an instance where we weren't. We know about that. I hope that was the exception, and that we're not seeing a new policy here. And that is a deep concern for the CAC.
Okay, so, yeah, and I think I do agree with you. You know, as long as everybody's independent, which I know we are, you have your opinion, they have theirs. I don't know what happened with this conversation with Landtech, and I think we probably do need to couple you with Landtech or whoever the consultant is, whether it's Landtech or anybody else in the future.
I had no conversations with Landtech.
No,
on
I
that.
understand. I'm agreeing with you, which is good, right?
Okay, I misunderstood. Or didn't hear you correctly.
I'm agreeing with you. I mumble my words sometimes.
Okay.
So I am agreeing with you. Like, it is beneficial. I do agree that for you to accompany, as long as you, and I asked this, you know, and I know you do this as well, from a professional capacity, you develop your opinion, they develop theirs. And then you come to, you know, your own conclusion, they come to their conclusion. Then what's the benefit of that is I have input from two different vehicles that are independent of each other. But I understand your point, because you're going to learn from them, and they may actually learn from you some of the conditions. So I think, does that address your question?
Yeah, that does. There's always going to be a conversation at a site visit, and a lot of it may just be about things completely unrelated.
Right.
But it's a social as well as a professional experience. But I want to say that we're there for observation. We're not there to express opinions. We're not there to sway or persuade.
And I've been to a couple sites with you, and some of the, a few in the past. I have gone to a few of them in the past. So I agree.
Thank you.
We need to make sure we remedy that in the future.
I appreciate that. All right, then let me just move quickly along and offer, when we get to the public hearing, there are some additional things that one of our CAC members raised and the CAC in general suggested, and you, I think, may have received a copy of a letter from Gigi, who's here tonight, but it's consistent with what the CAC would stand for, and that is the recommendation that the applicant consider using heat pumps in some of the homes. Now, I know that's not going to be, that may not be part of the overall concept of the plan, but to offer it as an option. Heat pumps are an important component of clean energy and decarbonization, and fossil fuel for the primary source of heat and energy use in this development isn't where things are going. So we'd like to suggest that that be considered by the applicant. We also have there's a walking trail that's part of the master comprehensive plan, and the route that we've been developing from the CAC, consistent with the master plan, does go through and or around, but we've got a couple different versions of it. So we will bring that to the applicant to review. One of them goes through a couple of the townhouses. I have a feeling that's not going to be that's a hard stop on that one. but there's one that circles around. So we'd like to have that continued, considered and reviewed as this application moves forward. The other is, just with regard to the wetlands, we're going to continue to look at this, and I don't disagree with Land Tech's conclusions. They're consistent with what the CAC felt in the original observation, but again, I want to underscore this. We need to be part of this process whenever there's a wetlands. So I'm glad to hear that we are in agreement on that. And last, I'll throw this in. Gigi suggested it. I spoke with the attorney earlier today. She considering the possibility of community gardens. I don't know how the applicant feels about it. In an informal discussion that wasn't really well considered, but I think it's something that should be thought about, because community gardens have a lot of place, and not just the least to generate pollinator pathways and a variety of other things, but they also tend to have some benefit for stormwater management to some extent, and they're quite frankly a very nice way for their community to understand how nature develops even around this vast and very large development that's going on, what used to be, or will soon used to be, one of the largest undeveloped sites in the county. So any element that brings nature back into the subdivision, I think, is beneficial and should be considered as a possibility. All right?
No, and thank you, Stephen. I'm glad you brought that to my attention, number one. And number two, thank you to you and Gigi and the rest of the board for, I can't do what you guys do because there's just enough time in the day. And you have the skill set and the expertise to bring us a lot of good information. So thank you for everything you do for the board.
I appreciate that, and we'll continue to do that as long as we're included in the
you will be
in the process.
Just don't steal my mic.
Oh, is it your mic?
No, it's not.
He says, I got to tell you, I can't hear anybody on the mics you have there.
Okay.
All right. I have one question for this gentleman. The Toll Brothers, right?
Yes.
They're well aware about the sidewalks, right? All the way down, when Baker was here, all the way down Westlake Drive, down Columbus, where you come out, we've all made aware of that.
Yeah. Okay. So? Yes, sure.
Very well.
We are certainly aware. Good evening, members of the board. Thank you for having us this evening. We are aware of that. We discussed the off-site sidewalk issue with Dave Smith. I think the last time we were here, we brought up sidewalks, and you had asked that we coordinate with staff on that issue specifically, which we did. And Dave Smith and ourselves looked at two different locations for a sidewalk, one on Westlake or one on Loza. Dave had said he thought that it would be best on Westlake, but not where it was previously proposed by Baker, being on the west side.
Okay,
He actually thought it would be...
My conversation with Baker, my conversation when I was on this board with Baker was, there was a sidewalk going from where they were coming at Loza, almost down to Columbus Elementary. That's all your property, right?
So...
Hold on, let me finish.
Sure.
This is the conversation I had. Whatever any other board member wants to state, they could state. All the way down, all the way around to EF, and EF's supposed to pick it up from their property to Westlake High School. So everybody could walk all the way around.
So, in
And
fact...
I don't care what Dave Smith said. I'm just telling you as me.
Sure.
And I'll have the conversation with you because I stayed this with Baker. And I'm upset about, not with this one, because for me, Pepsi, they should have did it too. And I was very upset that it wasn't done. And I'm not going to let this go past me personally on this board. Like I said, this is my personal opinion. It's not going to happen.
So, I don't think it will, frankly, and I think you and Dave are actually on the exact same page. And just for recollection, to go backwards before going forwards, Baker actually didn't commit to build that sidewalk, but to fund an escrow account for its future building. And that was in the resolutions, that was what was approved. So we actually have done the same thing in kind. We have taken a plan that is of the same lineal footage as was previously approved with Baker. We have priced that with Dave Smith and set an amount that would fund an escrow account for its future building.
When you say future building, what does that mean?
The town's
So
gonna build it?
the town will build it. We will fund that effort.
And go back to the east-west side, so it
So
will be on your property.
Dave prefers it on the east side of,
That's the side where there's existing homes and you'd be in the town
That's
right away. And
correct.
you cut down all the trees there to do that.
there's not that many trees, actually,
There's
that
enough trees
would
on
be
the tree
impacted.
hugger, so-
Do you want to
But,
get enough from Dave saying that?
That's a good idea.
Kevney Moses, yes. I'm sorry. Happy to
Yeah.
keep the discussion going either way if it were
Yeah,
on...
I would just like it to be and not a decision by the one town engineer, but it's
Sure.
part of, you know,
What I can guarantee, though, is that if it were built on the west side, more trees would be cut
But
down
maybe you're thinking
than the
linear,
east.
like one sidewalk that runs parallel completely to Westlake Drive. Maybe it needs to meander a little bit and not be a straight run.
I defer to Dave Smith, he is the town engineer.
Yeah,
But
just a little
regardless,
bit less than it
we
has
are
to
not
be a
shirking that
city
commitment.
Sidewalk.
We will fund it to be built.
I think between the planning board and Dave, I think there's a commitment to build a sidewalk, and we're willing to fund that. Both sides of Westlake, as well as coming into the town's rec program, there's a couple different options for a sidewalk. So we welcome the input from the town engineers, to where you all want it, but our commitment is to fund the construction of the sidewalk.
Jay made a great comment. We do have those beautiful trees going down Westlake Drive. That in the fall, they're covered, it's beautiful. So it doesn't have to be on the edge. It could be within the development coming in. Somewhere where the kids, if they want to
Well,
walk
that's
down.
where it gets tricky, John, because
Yeah.
if you remember, that side is now DEP, will be DEP's property. So it's not, Kevney doesn't control that side of the property anymore. So it gets a little tricky.
Yeah.
So that's why Dave's been
Right.
digging into this.
So that'd be great if everybody, DEP, everybody could get together, because just as much as everyone has an opinion, I think every homeowner on Westlake Drive is going to have an opinion when their trees are gonna be cut and how it's been for a long time, and it's a beautiful thoroughfare, so.
Certainly.
you
And
know.
I think it needs more study and needs more input beyond our application, without a doubt. And that's why we want to fund this and allow for
Which is great.
the future building.
So there's certain things that are just sticking points, and I think this, John, is a sticking point.
100%.
So-
DEP's been in and out of here, and I'm sure they're gonna do a sidewalk for us.
Yeah.
Okay,
You did them
Be
okay. with
400
the-
feet under the ground, but.
okay.
You granted
Anything else from you
approval
guys?
this morning, or
Not this
earlier.
evening,
Okay, let's.
unless there's further questions.
Any other questions or comments from board members? So the question is this application ready for the public?
I would like to make a motion to go to public hearing.
So we have a motion from
Second.
John for public, motion from John, second from JD. Walter?
Aye.
Jane?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Joan?
Aye.
Eileen?
Aye.
JD?
Aye.
An aye for me. And there we go. Mo, Larry, and Curly, all done. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Just a date, or should I check with you, Elaine, tomorrow?
Okay, next up on the agenda, number 5, proposed Arnold Place vacant parcel construction of a new single-family dwelling. Development includes
Thank you.
site excavation, regrading, retaining walls, driveway, and stormwater application, steep slopes, SS 24-3. Location Arnold Place, section block lot number is 106.20-1-12, zone R40. Owner Arnold Place Realty LLC, care of Anthony D'Agostino. Owner, applicant and architect is Thomas Haynes Architect. Thank you.
Good evening,
Name
Mr.
and
Chairman.
all that for the record.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, my name is Thomas Haynes from Haynes Architecture, presenting an application for you tonight at representing 143 Arnold Place. Just to refresh your memory, we have presented in front of you before. We are proposing a single-family detached dwelling located on a flag lot parcel that had previously been granted variance for insufficient lot frontage. The reason we're in front of you tonight is because we are located in where the house is going to be constructed is in an area of existing steep slopes. So we are proposing from Arnold Place a long driveway down to as an access point to come into the main buildable portion of the site. We have zoning constraints which are indicated here with the red dash line, so the house has to be contained within those setback requirements. As such, there are some located rock outcroppings that are in the area of where the proposed driveway is. So as mentioned in the last hearing, they will be mechanically chipped away with machinery, not blasting or proposing anything like that. We did receive comments from Mr. Cleary. We received comments from engineering. We've addressed all of the comments dating back to before March or early March. We had a couple of rounds back and forth with the town engineer, addressed all of their first rounds of questions. After we addressed the first round of questions, there was an additional question, maybe 7 or 8 comments that came back additional to that. We've since addressed that, submitted. It's my understanding at this point that the town engineer is fairly satisfied with everything that we've submitted thus far. I could walk you through those comments if you prefer, but you know, however you like. I could walk you through the plans. I can go over the comments that
So
we addressed.
We've seen the plans. Unless anybody from the board would like to go into more details, I'm good, unless somebody else would like to get into more detail on the specifics or specific questions.
I had a question about the sewer main. You're going to extend the main up to this property?
Correct. So there was a few changes that were pretty, essentially the largest changes from our last presentation. One was the sewage, right? So originally, the owner was trying to create an easement and negotiate with the neighbor located at the rear. It would be preferred to have that gravity fed. That's, at this point, that has been abandoned. We did have updated drawings done by the engineer, the site engineer, which they will propose sewage back up to Arnold Place Street opening along with our utilities that we have to do there as well, and they'll make a connection back into the sewer main. So that is on their drawings, which are on the other side of this.
Are the neighbors on septic?
I'm not sure if the neighbors are on septic, but
And it's a main that you're extending, so they would have an opportunity to tie into your main if you have a service line?
well, there's a
in your
main in the
house.
street already.
Yeah. Where does the main go to now?
So currently, I mean, I don't know, let me see if I have a larger picture of the street, but the main exists down from the roundabout at Arnold Place. So it's down a little bit from our property.
It does exist in Arnold Place? You don't have to
Correct.
go all the way down?
No, it's in Arnold Place. So that's where we're proposing to tie into that main. So if you,
I
so,
believe you. You don't have to
yeah,
show
so
me.
yeah, it would come up into Arnold Place, down through a street opening, and then connect down over here. So they actually did an enlarged area to show that connection. Which is in
And
the
you
center.
couldn't do septic there?
No.
Okay.
Are you saying at the top of Arnold Place in the cul-de-sac, there's a manhole there that you're gonna tie into?
Yeah, there is an existing sewer main there that they're going to tie into, correct. So again, I'm not the site engineer, but they did prepare the drawings proposing
Say
that.
that's uphill.
I'm sorry?
That would be up, are you pumping?
Yes,
You're
correct.
pumping then?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think the sewer comes all the way to the end of the cul-de-sac. They have to bring it up Arnold to the end of the cul-de-sac. I think most of the homes are connected to sewer.
Okay.
But they just have to bring it the extra 100 feet or so to the end of the cul-de-sac so they can connect.
Okay. So you'll be extending the main. It won't be a service line to the...
It's a main.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
I have a question on the frontage variance. What year was that originally approved? or granted?
For the variance, I believe it was in the 90s.
It's
if I remember
76,
right.
I think.
Was it that bad?
Yeah.
I thought I had understood it to
Yeah,
be in the
I
90s.
think I read that it was, and there's no path, there's no expiration on a variance that's issued?
Not in town, no.
It does.
Yeah.
So are all those homes on top of Arnold Place connected to the sewer?
No,
I just heard that they may not.
Yeah, that's what I'm picking up on.
they all pay sewer tax though.
Okay. Sorry.
One other thing I would just wanted to point out too, if I may, that Mr. Cleary had asked at the end of last hearing for me to create a diagram, just so you can get a feel and understanding of how our property exists with relation to the surrounding property, so you can see we're way down, so none of these other properties are affected.
Can I just ask like a couple of quick questions, comments?
Sure.
From the rear, the house is 49 and a half feet high in the views from the rear. You still meet your height requirement?
We
there?
do, that,
Okay.
and
That includes the retaining walls
that's why
and
we have
everything.
this, yeah, otherwise we wouldn't have those walls, we wouldn't need those walls, but we are fully compliant with the height restrictions here.
Okay, and to build the driveway, you're gonna have to chip some rock.
Correct.
Can you do that without encroaching into the adjacent properties?
Yes. Yeah, I
Okay,
believe we
and
have
the wall
15
there?
feet total width right now, and we're going to be contained pretty much to a 10-foot area to do so.
How long would that take, the chipping operation, do you think?
It's got to be a couple months, I would guess. The builder is not here currently. I'm not sure. Anthony, I'm sorry, the owner's here, if you don't mind. Did they state to you how long they think it would take the whole chipping process? I'm going to guess it might be.
How many feet is it?
So,
How many do they have to chip out?
No,
Oh,
both.
The length, I think it's like 90 feet or something like that.
How far down you go?
Well, so that part of it is, so you have rock outcroppings that come out, so that has to get down almost leveled. But our utilities have to be 42 inches deep below, which was one engineering requirement. So we proposed that, we added notes to the drawing, the engineer added notes to the drawings to state that and specify that.
so getting back to Joan's question.
It's noisy, banging.
So I don't want to forget Joan's question. So if you don't have the answer tonight, that's fine, but can we get the answer?
Oh, for sure.
because I think that'd be important for the public hearing, because that's good.
That's a lot of noise. People are gonna have to listen to banging for months on
Of course,
end.
no, understood. Yeah.
What did you say?
It's not gonna take months.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear
Okay.
what?
It's not gonna take that long to see.
No, let's just
Well, let's get an idea of what,
Yeah, we can, I mean, we can be prepared to give you an answer on that. for
because,
sure.
because once you say it here, then it gets entered into the minutes, right? And then-
Understood, yeah, that's
and
what I'm
then-
saying.
and
I'm
then it
I'm
gets
not
immortalized
versed
in a
that, yeah.
resolution, you know,
I'm
maybe.
not sure the
Take the
time is.
fifth.
Yes.
Exactly.
Okay.
But somebody will be prepared to state that.
Any other?
You know, there is a contractor working down on Whittier, Aqua Works, and they've been there for 6 months at least, pounding rock, day in and day out.
They should not be there for that long, I'll tell you right now.
Well,
They should
it's-
not have been there for,
Yeah.
I live on Byron.
wanna go and take care of that?
It's a deep
Yeah, they
excavation.
underbid me on for the job, and I'll tell you, they shouldn't have been there for
They're,
that long.
they're down to like -20, whatever,
Okay.
but I'm just saying, the neighborhood has been subject to this noise.
Noise, understood. No, I do
That's what's
understand it.
concerning.
So that will probably be a big conversation. So when you, just like when you're in elementary school, you're preparing for your
Sure.
test.
Yeah.
That's
We'll
gonna be,
we'll have that info.
that's
for
going to
sure.
be a big conversation. So whether it's a day or months, you know, we just need to get some answer from
Okay.
you.
Not a
Any
problem.
other questions or comments from the board members? So we're here to say, have we dotted the i's and crossed the t's? And we're not going to get into the logistics of the application, whether we agree or disagree with it. But we have enough information from the town and from us to say that they are ready for public hearing. They dotted their i's, their ducks in a row, crossed the t's, and tied their shoelaces.
From me and from Dave, they're ready for public hearing.
I'll make a motion for a public hearing.
So we have a motion from John,
Second.
second from J.D. Walter,
Aye.
Jane,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Joan,
Aye.
Eileen,
Aye.
and J.D.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all, appreciate
Take a
it.
motion to close the meeting? So move. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I did that for a reason. Can we just...